let's talk about a potential trade. You just talked about Durant. So go ahead, Con.
Yeah, there are reports today. Kevin Durant, he's going to get traded within the next week. I forget who said it, but that was what NBA Central, and that's kind of where I get all my information. Probably your burner, if I had to guess, Shams. What's the deal?
Central or Centel?
Centel I use sometimes as information.
You know,
NBA
I'm not going to
Central.
lie. That account, I think it was like Tom Thibodeau getting fired. Like, they put that, you know, obviously it's a parody account.
Yeah.
And then a week later, he actually got fired, and then they were like, we said it first. So.
Yeah, I mean, let's just also say
I'll give him credit for
to
that.
the WNBA fans, they are getting killed by NBA Central right now. They need to realize that that's a fake account and that they're just
tough, though.
trolling people.
It's
so close. Yeah, NBA Central.
It's tough these days sometimes.
It really is.
It's tough these days sometimes.
Yeah, it's absurd. But where is he going, Shams? Is he going with like a Giannis type trade? Is there going to be some sort of combination of the same thing? Or
and
what?
when?
Yeah, there's not going to be a Giannis Kevin Durant intermingling trade going on. You said a week. I think it could be even sooner than that. I think there's some motivation with some teams, potentially even sooner than 7 days. You know, maybe in the next few days we could get some Kevin Durant trade action. There is some serious traction on conversations, on trade scenarios with the Suns. They've had about 6 to 8 teams reach out. There's been interest. There's been some offers. There's been some negotiations. But really in the last 24, 48 hours, I'm told the focus of the Suns conversation has been on a few of the teams. And here they are. The Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm told those are the 3 teams right now where a lot of the focus for Durant lies. There's some motivation.
Does he want to go there?
Sooner than later. So it's a great question you ask, AJ, because he's on an expiring contract, about $54 million. And so that could also come up as an issue here, where if there's a team that for sure wants his extension, or will there be a team? We saw what happened with Kawhi Leonard in 2019, or actually 2018, and then he won the championship in 2019 with the Toronto Raptors, where they just literally had no idea whether he wanted to be there, probably didn't want to be there, and they trade for him, they win a championship, then he leaves anyway. So will there be a team, whether it's in this mix or a wild card team, that just takes a swing and just banks on themselves and hope that they can potentially make a deep run and keep them there? But that's going to be the big question.
You said Houston, Miami?
Houston, Miami, and Minnesota.
Okay, let's get an answer about Miami right now. UD, would Kevin Durant fit in well in the Miami Heat culture, do you think?
I mean, Kevin Durant would fit in anywhere, but definitely I feel like he fits in the Miami Heat culture, and I can't speak too much on it, but I would say he's a guy who comes in and just has to be Kevin Durant.
UD, speak on it, man.
Yeah, UD, you know.
You're on the Pat McAfee Show,
I'm the vice president of player development, fellas. So I got to keep my coins coming in. So what I will say is, if he comes,
I get it now.
If it happens,
I get it now.
he comes into a locker room.
I get it now. I get what the loyalty's at.
This is why I show Kevin first. I know you got a couple of these, but this is why I show him first. But if he happens to come into the Miami Heat locker room, he comes into a situation where you have a Hall of Fame coach already, Lispostra Nostra. You got a team that has a culture already, a team that has a culture already. So the questions that people have about Kevin Durant: can Kevin Durant be your leader? He doesn't have to be a leader in Miami. They already have leadership. They already have a culture. They already have a hell of a head coach who's a figure. Is Kevin Durant going to respect the guy? His accolades, MVPs, Hall of Famers, scoring champions. You can't just have anybody coach Kevin Durant.
Team USA, they were together too, right?
Team USA. So you can't have a guy that has no experience come in and say, hey, Kevin, you need to do this to win a championship. Kevin going to be like, I got more championships than you. I can tell your ass what to do to win a championship. So you have a coach that has that pedigree, and Kevin Durant's going to respect that. So, yes, the situation in Miami will work. But at the end of the day, Kevin Durant has put himself in a situation, and he's earned the right to pick and choose where he wants to go.
Yeah, I would love to have Kevin Durant here in Indiana. It doesn't sound like that's a thing.
That wasn't even part of the conversation.
I know. How we get there?
I know. Still, it's the Pacers.
I will say, I've also seen some conversations about Kevin Durant as a player. Like, let's remember who we're talking about here. He's going to be 37 in September. We do know this, but he is one of the best players still to this day. He made his 15th straight All-Star team this past season in a year that he's played. He obviously missed the 2019-2020 season. So all 3 of these teams, I think, are looking at this as like, if we get Kevin Durant in the fold, I mean, if you're looking at it from Minnesota's perspective, Houston's perspective, we can legitimately contend for a championship. And the East right now is wide open. So if you're Miami and you have a chance to pair Kevin Durant, with Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo. So that's really where the focus has been on those three teams in the last 24 hours.
And La Spostra Nostra.
That's a great name.
Him too.
I didn't know that was a
Great
thing,
nickname.
but
La Spostra
I don't know
Nostra,
if the East is
baby.
wide open. The Pacers have been to back-to-back. I'm sure the Celtics will still be good. How important is
Wait a minute. See, that was disrespectful just there.
what?
He didn't even know it. The East is wide open.
Yeah, to
How is it
Andy.
wide open? And we got a team right now that's see how easy it is
Oh,
to
yeah.
disrespect the Pacers.
Oh, yeah, it's
all day,
bull-
every day.
Right there.
In the city, in their building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. He's been saying this for a couple of days.
Shams does this.
This is corporate Shams.
I am just saying what teams believe in the Eastern Conference. But look at the Pacers. We
Thank
didn't
you.
we didn't
Yeah.
expect them to be here, right? So could there be a team next year?
What do you mean
that-
we?
We
Who's
did.
we?
we?
Expect
We
them?
did expect them to be here.
Well,
Did most people around the league expect that? I
Those
don't
that
think
know
so.
ball did.
I don't think so.
how important is Udoka for KD? Because obviously they have a really good relationship. When Udoka was in Boston, a lot of KD to Boston.
That was a
during
real
time.
thing.
I love him,
that,
too.
Is
that
that
was a
why
real
he's
thing.
going to Houston? Yeah, like
That was a
UD
real
for
tell you something.
players. How important?
Because you're a Boston guy,
Yeah.
and I tell you, every time we were in a series with Boston, I would look down to their huddle, and it wasn't Marcus Smart, it wasn't Jason Tatum,
He's
it
the
wasn't Jalen Brown, it was Ime Udoka. He was the leader of that team. He was the guy
Yeah,
that
he's a
they
good talker.
followed. Yes, and he's the guy who will challenge you, not just mentally, but physically too. Like, what you want to do? You want to square off? We can square off, but at the end of the day, like I told you, before I let you take down these other 12, 13 guys, I whip your ass. That's Ime Udoka's mentality. So he is a guy that Kevin Durant respects and will come in that locker room and will fall in line. But now if you bring a first-year coach, Kevin Durant may be like,
Yeah.
you don't really know shit. bro."
Shams, why don't you start doing a little bit more research? Tricky Ricky and Kevin Durant would get along very, very well. Let's move off of the Kevin Durant story. I don't love that we have Miami Heat personnel here not telling us
Sure.
how much they're trading for Kevin Durant and when that's going to happen. But you got to do what you got to do, and I understand Rouse will get a little riled up if you were to give that away.
Don't want no problems.
AJ, amen. AJ has a question for you.
Shams, are the Knicks any closer to finding a head coach? And did they have a plan in place before they fired Thibs of, hey, this is who we're lined up, we may have locked in?
Yeah, usually when you fire a coach like Tom Thibodeau that takes you to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, you would hope that there's maybe someone lined up. But we see right there, they've gotten 5 denials of permission for current.
They obviously
sitting
didn't expect
head
this. They didn't
coaches.
expect to get denied all these.
I don't know if they expected, out of all those, Billy Donovan has 1 year left on his deal. So, that was the most recent one that they requested, and that one was denied. And Billy Donovan is staying in Chicago. So think about it. The Bulls, the Hawks, 2 teams that you can't really consider as contenders. The other 3 can have a case that we're going into next season and really have a legitimate chance to contend.
Is this normal? Is this normal? Because we
This
have
is 100% unorthodox.
Okay, so we have a Knicks fan in the back. His name's Bruce. Everybody knows Bruce. Everybody loves Bruce, except for if you're watching a Knicks game with Bruce. Everybody hates Bruce.
Sure.
That is just, but that's how Bruce would like it, and that's how I think a lot of Knicks fans would like it as well. He said that he's flipped his mindset from, the Knicks have no idea what they're doing, to I kind of like that James Dolan's treating all these other NBA teams like they're a mid-major. Like, how after March Madness happens, some mid-major coach does very well. Some big school comes in and says, congratulations, you now get an opportunity to coach at a big conference and we get you a bigger deal. The Knicks are kind of calling around to other NBA teams, hey, we know you got a good thing going, but we would like to congratulate your coach. He now has an opportunity to come coach at Madison Square Garden. Is this normal? Like, it feels wild just to call a team and be like, head coach,
Listen,
we want that. Yeah. And it's like,
stuff like this happens behind the scenes, as UD knows. But this is, as far as since I've been covering the league and when I talk to GMs, this has never happened. Like, a team is just going to call around, go one by one by one. I mean, at this point, if you're not requested, it's like disrespect.
Who are some coaches that maybe aren't being talked about? Is it assistant coaches? Because like in our world in the NFL, UD, you probably know these people better because it's a smaller community seemingly in the NBA than it is in the NFL. When a general manager is hired, we have no idea who this person is. They're like an assistant scout or a regional scout or assistant vice president of personnel. We don't know the people. So you just got to hope that they're good. In the NBA, do people normally know who the coaches are going to be, UD? Do you normally know of the people that get these head coaching opportunities?
Yeah, I think a lot of times you do. A lot of times you do, especially if you're one of the top guys. I didn't get that luxury. They didn't ask me a damn thing about who they were going to bring in for coaches. Sure. But when you're that guy, you get to have a seat at that table and have those conversations. When they talked about the guy that they brought in Phoenix, they said that conversation was had with
Devin Booker.
With Devin
was a big
Booker.
part of that.
He was a big part of that. So if you're an organization, I think the times have changed. I think now you have to give your star players a seat at the table and have those conversations, because there's a time now where players are getting coaches fired. When I came in the league, the coach would go to the GM and say, I need this player, I need that player, this is how we're going to win. Now the players go to the GMs and say, we need this coach, that coach, and this is how we're going to win. So it's completely flipped the script. So you have to have these conversations with your players or your ass might be out of there.
So on that note, New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson's dad, I think he's been an assistant coach for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson is the star for the Knicks. I watched him seemingly make every shot every time he had an opportunity. Rick Brunson going to be the head coach of the Knicks?
Hell no, you can't play for your daddy.
That's not.
No,
from my understanding, that's
no,
not a
I
play.
deal with that shit in baseball now with my son.
That's
no.
not.
No. And this is nothing against Rick Brunson, but you cannot have that. We all got kids. We go to these games and the coach coaching his son, and his son is terrible and he's getting all the playing time. You like, get your son ass out of here.
Yeah, but Jalen obviously going to be the guy. But it is
he's gonna
weird
be the guy.
if he treats him any differently. It's hard to balance. But who are some of the names for the Knicks?
But to answer AJ's initial question, I think from the Knicks' perspective, it's going to be a very patient search now. I don't think they feel
it has to be. Everyone's saying no.
It has been patient.
Well, I think
they didn't plan on being patient, did
they?
they?
View the requests as an opportunity to learn whether that coach is attainable, whether we can talk to him, do more research. Clearly, they were denied on all those fronts. So now, when you look at the Knicks, I think they're going to look at more head coaches, former head coaches that are available in the marketplace. So you think of guys like Mike Brown, Taylor Jenkins, potentially others. Michael Malone is also out there.
Michael Malone.
So I think now that they've gone through this exercise of all these head coaches, current sitting head coaches, they've gotten denied by 5. Again, in their mind, there's no other vacancy in the NBA. It's just them. We have time to see what research can we do with other teams. Sometimes, usually, as UD knows, like, let's be honest, a lot of this happens behind the scenes. This one happened very publicly and in front of everyone, and they're calling the team to do their due diligence. So now I expect them to look today, tomorrow, and over the weekend into some former head coaches, maybe even assistant coaches at the NBA level right now.
I love everything about it. Good luck to the Knicks. They'll have a coach before next year, we assume, but this has been very public.
They will. I can break that here now. They will have a coach before next season.
Put on the SeatGeek ticker.
You're right.
Put on the SeatGeek.
Is this public because of him?
He can stamp it. You do his research.
Is this only public because of you, Shams? Like the fact that they were denied, or would this have been behind the scenes if you didn't report it?
Well, you never know about that, but once you call a team, like
they're not saying it. They're not saying, "Hey, we
stupid."
Like,
does it have to go through the league office for them to request?
It's usually team to team, but once you tell a team, think about it. Think all the people that could know. It's the GM. It's his entire front office. It's the ownership level. It could be a lot of other staffers, the coach himself, people around the coach. So by the time you're like, the Knicks are reaching out, understanding that it's possible. This is.
Well, I honestly, I just thought the pecking order was bad. Like, I know, and I'm being honest. Like, you got to go after guys that you really have a chance. Why are you wasting your time on guys that you don't have no chance of getting? Ime Udoka just sat at the top of the West all year with a young team. There's no way in hell they letting him go.
Jason Kidd.
Fitch just went to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Coach
Jason Kidd.
They got number one overall pick with Cooper
Jason
Flagg.
Kidd went to the Western Conference Finals last year. You know, these are coaches that are building something that's treading in the right direction. You'd be crazy as hell to let your coach walk and go to the Knicks. You know how hard it is to get a good coach?
Yeah, agreed. Last question here for you, Shams, from Tone.
Shams, another organization with a really good culture, the Philadelphia 76ers. There's rumors they're what?
You said really good coach or culture?
Culture. I'm
The
kidding.
76ers
I'm being sarcastic.
Heat culture, Sixers culture.
Because we stopped trusting the process.
A long time ago. Their
we don't
culture
trust
stinks.
that no more. That's out.
There's rumors they're looking to potentially go up in the draft. Would that involve one of the Embiid or one of their star players, or what's the situation going along with that?
I mean, every team at this juncture of the season is going to be active to try to go get a player, right? Like if there's a player you like in the draft, there's a player you like in trade. But I mean, they're making the normal calls. I have not heard any seriousness to much of their draft chatter. I'm sure they're going to call the Spurs about potentially moving up to 2. I'm sure they're going to also get calls from other teams below them at 3 to move up to that level. So these conversations are all going to be very fluid. I think if you're the Sixers, though, it all starts and ends with Joel Embiid's health.
Yes.
Is Joel Embiid going to be healthy? How's he going to be over the offseason? He had surgery late in the season. So for them and Joel Embiid, it's making sure he gets through this offseason fully healthy. Can he be himself? That's the only chance, realistically, they have to compete for a championship.
Anything else we need to think about tonight?
I mean, this game for me, when I watched Game 2, the bench was massive, obviously for Indiana. Like, what was the discrepancy? 49 to 18.
Game 2 was OKC bench. Yeah,
it's always been the bench.
It's the bench. It's at the end of the day, it's Tyrese. When Tyrese Halliburton plays the way he played in Game 3, whoever wins Game 4, I think is in a great position to win the series.